Today, we're tackling one of the most common questions I get asked. How do I actually write a book? Whether you've been dreaming about writing a novel for years or you want to share your expertise through a nonfiction book, this video is going to give you a complete roadmap from blank page to finished manuscript. And here's the thing, writing a book isn't as mysterious or impossible as it seems. Yes, it takes work, but if you follow the right process, anyone can do this. So grab a notebook because we're diving in. Before we talk about process, let's talk about mindset, because this is where most people get stuck before they even start. First truth, your first draft will not be perfect, and that's completely okay. Every author you admire, every book sitting on the bestseller list, started as a messy first draft. Anne Lamott calls them shitty first drafts, and she's right. Give yourself permission to write badly at first. Second truth, you don't need huge blocks of time. I know you're thinking, I don't have 8 hours a day to write. Good news, you don't need it. Consistency beats intensity every single time. 15 minutes a day, if you actually show up every day, will get you to the finish line. Third truth, you will doubt yourself. There will be days when you think your idea is terrible, when you feel like an imposter, when you wonder why you even started. This is normal. It's part of the process. The difference between people who finish books and people who don't isn't talent, it's persistence through the doubt. So adopt this mantra. I don't have to write a great book today, I just have to write. That shift in thinking is everything. All right, let's get practical. Step 1, nail down your idea. Maybe you already have an idea, but it's fuzzy. Or maybe you have 10 ideas and can't choose. Here's how to clarify. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1, what am I genuinely excited about? You're going to spend months, maybe years with this idea. If it doesn't light you up, you won't finish. 2, who is this book for? Get specific. Don't say everyone who likes fantasy. Say people who love morally complex characters in dark fantasy worlds. The more specific your audience, the easier it becomes to write for them. 3, what's the core premise? Can you describe your book in 1 or 2 sentences? For fiction, this might be, a young witch discovers she's destined to save the world she was taught to fear. For nonfiction, a practical guide to building productive habits that actually stick. If you can't summarize it simply, you need to think it through more. Once you have clarity on these 3 things, you're ready to move forward. Don't overthink this step. You can refine as you write. Now here's where people split into 2 camps, planners and pantsers. Planners outline everything before they write. Pantsers just start writing and figure it out as they go. There's no right way, but I'm going to advocate for at least some planning, especially if this is your first book. Why? Because structure gives you direction when you're stuck. And believe me, you will get stuck. For fiction, consider using a basic 3-act structure. Act 1, introduce your character and their world, then disrupt it with an inciting incident. Act 2, your character pursues their goal, but faces escalating obstacles. Act 3, the climax and resolution. Within this framework, you can be as creative as you want. If you want more detail, look into story frameworks like Save the Cat or The Hero's Journey. These aren't formulas that make every story the same. They're maps that help you avoid getting lost. For nonfiction, think in sections or chapters based on your reader's journey. What do they need to know first? What builds on that? Create a logical flow. Your outline doesn't have to be detailed, just clear enough that you know what each chapter accomplishes. And here's a pro tip. Write your chapter summaries first. Just a few sentences about what happens or what's covered in each chapter. This gives you a roadmap without locking you in. You can always deviate later. Develop your writing habit. Okay, this is the section that will actually determine whether you finish your book or not, building a sustainable writing habit. First, set a daily or weekly goal. I recommend word count goals over time-based goals because you can measure them objectively. Start small, maybe 250 words a day. That's less than 1 page. It sounds tiny, but that's 91,000 words in a year, which is a full-length novel. Second, write at the same time every day if possible. Maybe it's first thing in the morning with coffee, or during your lunch break, or after the kids go to bed. When you write at the same time, your brain starts to expect it, and it gets easier. Third, protect your writing time. This means treating it like a real appointment. Turn off notifications, close social media, tell your family you're unavailable. This is your time. Fourth, lower the barrier to entry. Don't wait for inspiration or motivation. Just open your document and write one sentence. Usually that one sentence leads to another, and suddenly you've written for 20 minutes. And finally, track your progress. Keep a simple log of your daily word count or use an app. Seeing that chain of consistent writing days is incredibly motivating. Don't break the chain. One more thing. Don't edit as you write your first draft. Editing and creating use different parts of your brain. If you try to do both at once, you'll slow down dramatically and probably hate everything you write. Give yourself permission to write messy and fix it later. Let's talk about the thing every writer dreads: writer's block. Here's the secret. Writer's block is usually not a creativity problem, it's a clarity problem. You're stuck because you don't know what happens next, or you're afraid what you write won't be good enough. So here are 5 techniques to get unstuck. 1. Skip the scene. Seriously. If you're stuck on a particular scene, write a 1-sentence summary of what needs to happen and move to the next scene you're excited about. You can come back later. 2. Change your medium. If you usually type, try writing by hand. If you're at your desk, go to a coffee shop. Sometimes a change of environment unlocks something. 3. Write badly on purpose. Tell yourself, I'm going to write the worst version of this scene possible. Often, that permission to be terrible gets words flowing, and they're usually better than you think. 4. Talk it out. Explain your story or your stuck point to someone else or even to yourself out loud. Sometimes hearing it helps you realize what's wrong or what comes next. 5. Read books in your genre, not to copy them, but to remind yourself what's possible and to refill your creative well. Input feeds output. And remember, every professional writer experiences this. You're not uniquely broken or untalented. You're just in the middle of the process. Congratulations. Let's say you've reached the end of your first draft. This is huge. Celebrate it. Most people who start books never get here. But now comes the part that transforms your draft into an actual book: revision. Step 1. Take a break. Put your manuscript away for at least 2 weeks, ideally a month. You need distance to see it clearly. Work on something else. Read, live your life. Step 2. Read it through without changing anything. Make notes about big picture issues, plot holes, pacing problems, characters that disappear, sections that drag. Don't worry about typos or sentence level stuff yet. Step 3. Make your big structural changes. This is where you might delete chapters, reorder scenes, or rewrite sections entirely. It can feel brutal, but this is where your book gets stronger. Step 4. Now focus on the chapter and scene level. Does each chapter accomplish something? Do scenes have tension? Are your characters consistent? Tighten and clarify. Step 5. Line editing. Finally, you can focus on sentences, word choice, grammar, and flow. This is where you polish. For nonfiction, also check. Is your argument clear? Do you support your points? Is there a logical flow? Could a reader implement your advice? Consider getting feedback at this stage. Beta readers, writing groups, or a professional editor can spot issues you're too close to see. Be open to criticism. It's how your book gets better. So you've revised your manuscript. What now? If you're pursuing traditional publishing, you'll need to research literary agents, write a query letter, and prepare for rejections. It's a long process, but it can be worth it for the right book. If you're self-publishing, you'll need to hire an editor, get a professional cover design, format your book, and learn about marketing. You have more control, but also more responsibility. Either path is valid. Choose based on your goals in your book. But here's what I really want you to take away from this video. Writing a book is absolutely achievable. It's not reserved for a special class of people with unique talents. It's for anyone willing to show up consistently, push through doubt, and put in the work. Your book doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. It has to be finished. Because a finished book, even an imperfect one, is infinitely more valuable than a perfect book that only exists in your head. So here's my challenge to you. Pick your idea, set your first week's goal, and start writing. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, but today. Open a document and write 1 paragraph. Then come back and tell me in the comments what you're working on. I want to hear about your book ideas, your progress, your struggles. Let's build a community of people who actually finish what they start. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more writing advice. And remember, the only way to write a book is to write, so go do that.